I just played my first ever FIP tournament, and honestly, I had no idea what I was walking into. There were so many things that I wish that someone would have told me beforehand. So I've decided to document everything, the good, the bad, and the unexpected, because there's some things that you're gonna be surprised. So if you're thinking of playing a FIP, or you're just curious about knowing how these tournaments work, this video is for you. So I'm gonna break down 15 things that I've learned from the level, the expenses, the organization, all of it. All right, so let's start. First point, what's a FIP? Actually, there's a lot of types of FIP, but to simplify it, let's say that there's just 4, even if there's more. The basic is there's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And the difference between them is just the amount of points that you get if you win those tournaments and the prize money. So bronze being the lower and platinum being the higher. In my case, I did the FIP Silver. So if I would have won it, I would have gotten 30 points, and the prize money was around 750 or 770. I will leave it in the screen. And something that I recently learned is that you don't need professional points to get into these tournaments. Like, for example, in my case, I had 0 points. It was my first tournament in Spain since I moved. Anybody that has a federated license can sign up. And something super cool is that the best in the world can play. Like, you can find people from Premier Padel playing in this type of tournaments, and you can find me who has 0 points. A good opportunity to get to see some very good players that you will see on TV. Okay, second point is the registration process. Actually, this was super easy. You just have to go to the FIP website, and there you have to create a profile as a player. And once you have that profile done, you just go to the tournament, you press to sign up, then you will need to introduce the name of your partner, and your partner, through their profile, will have to approve your petition. This is kind of like a friend request from social media, you know? Once your partner accepts it, it's done. You're already on the list, and probably you will see your name the following days. The organization sends you an email that everything is done, and like super simple, like you can do it in 10 minutes really. All right, so the third point, the draw. So there's the qualification round, and then there's the main draw. If you have 0 points like me, you're gonna have to start by doing the qualifiers. In my case, I was pretty lucky because we were very little teams, so we just had to play 1 round. But actually the men, they had to play 2 because they were a lot more. And another way that you can get into the main draw, besides winning the qualifiers, is that you can actually ask, or the tournament can give you a wild card. So that means that even if you don't have points, they actually can place you straight to the main draw. Point number 4, accommodation. This, for me, was the most crazy part, because you don't know when you're playing until the last second. So at the beginning, when we signed up in the flyer, it said that the tournament started from the 13th to the 19th of October. So in my head, I was thinking that we were playing on the 13th, the first day. But then when I asked the organizer, they told me that they couldn't tell me exactly the day that we were playing. They weren't giving me much information. So good thing I didn't book any hotel for the 13th, because I ended up playing on the 16th. So because I had to book my hotel so last minute, we had to book an Airbnb almost the same day that we were actually driving to Portugal, and we just booked for 1 night because we didn't know if we were gonna win or lose, and if you lose you go home, so it didn't make sense to book more than 1 night. And then when we won, 30 minutes after, we booked the second hotel for the second night. And yeah, you just kind of like book it day by day. You probably have to move from one place to another because, for example, my first hotel didn't have availability for the next day, so we had to go to another one.
So it's 4:20. Abo won her first match, but we haven't been able to get home yet, or like to our apartment or our Airbnb, because parking was very difficult. Like, I think we spent 1 hour trying to find parking. Now we are on our way to our second place, and we're tired because it's 4, and Alba especially, she's played, she hasn't eaten anything, we both haven't eaten anything. You have to push really hard. Try it. Oh yeah. And we're number 7. I don't know. Well, I was complaining about not getting any training in, so I'm happy for a little workout.
No, pobrecilla, me cansé de la... Ahorita colgamos la foto.
In this tournament, I have to say that I was pretty stressed about these last minute bookings. For the next one, I will take it more easy because I know what to expect. Like, don't expect that everything is super well organized and planned, because they will tell you when to play the last second. So I would recommend to book your hotel the night before your game. So for example, if you're playing on Thursday, to book it for Wednesday, because it's most likely that you won't have the schedule for Thursday until Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon. It's better to sleep there, and so you go with time and you are not tired from the travel, and then you wake up and then you just go to your match. Because if you want to travel the same day as you're playing, you're going to be so stressed because you won't find out the details until the day before. And you also want to have a time to see the club, test the courts, and like feel how the ball reacts in that place. In Portugal, for example, it's way more humid than where we are in Valladolid. So when we first arrived in the nighttime, we went straight to the club and we played a bit. And we found out that the ball was actually heavier than in Valladolid, and it would slide down more from the glass. So it wasn't as bouncy as what we were used to. So it was good that we went in the nighttime to test it and to get used to it for the next day. Fifth point, match format and rules. So the match format is pretty straightforward. It's the best of 3 sets. If you tied 1 set each, then you're gonna do a third set to untie. The most important is that it's golden point, not advantage, at least in the FIP Silver that I played. I think in the Platinum they do advantage already, but in the Silver and Bronze, and I don't know gold, but in those two I know that it's for sure golden point. And for the warm-up, you just have 5 minutes to warm up, so it's kind of like a regular warm-up, like fast, and you just go to play. Something to mention is that there's no referee on the match. That means like there's a referee that is kind of like everywhere, that if you have a problem, probably he will go to your court, but you have to count for your points, and there's nobody that says if the ball is in or is out. It's kind of like a regular match from any other tournament, that if you need the referee, probably he will come, but he's not there present in your match. 6th point, level. This actually I think is one of the most important points for me, because in my head I was, I don't know why, expecting the level to be almost like what I see on TV. Good news is that it's not. It's actually high level, of course. We're talking about semi-professional people or professional people, but it's nothing to be so scared of, really. I had so many demons in my head with that, thinking that maybe I would lose 6-0, 6-0 the first round. And actually I was surprised, because on the second match we were playing with people that were ranked way higher. Like I played against like the 180 in the world or something like that. It's very doable if you have a good level and if you're training hard. And I swear that it's a tournament that you can do. Point number 7, organization. So this point is a bit tricky, because I'm gonna divide it in 2 organizations: before the event and during the event. So before the event, in my perspective, it was very bad, because I thought that this type of tournaments were gonna be super well organized, where you know exactly your times from like a week before, so you can plan, the hotels and your trip and everything. But you actually, as I mentioned before, you don't know when you're playing until the day before or even like the night before. So the organization really is super bad in that aspect. But I have to say that then once you are in the tournament, everything it flows very good. Like once you arrive there, if you wanna like practice a bit, warm up, you just go to the referee, they give you good balls, they give you a court to play, to warm up, and I didn't have any problem of like going there wanting to play and not having a space for me. So yeah, the organization, not the best. 8 point, prices. So the prices were in my tournament, as I said before, around 770 euros, but that was per player. Once you are in the main draw, every round it has a price as well. I lost the first round, so in theory they have to give us 50 euros. I just emailed them to see how they can transfer that money because I don't have it as yet. But yeah, they told me that was where we were getting. Honestly, it's nothing crazy because 700 euros, you know, like it's basically you paying for the tournament, you know. So yeah, prices not so good either. Point number 9, expenses. I calculated an approx for both days. Both my partner and I spent around 400 euros. So it was around 100 euros per night for the hotel. Then we spent around 120 euros on gas because we were going by car. And you have to add to those expenses 40 euros for the registration. And then, well, some tolls on the road and stuff. But well, more or less I calculated and it was around 400 for both, so 200 euros each for 2 days. Here it depends a lot too on the country that you're playing. If you're playing, I don't know, there's FIPs everywhere in the world. So yeah, those were my expenses in Oporto. So anybody that goes to Portugal, more or less, that's what they should expect. And for the point number 10, I'm actually gonna give the share to Nini because this question is for her. How the tournament was in her perspective as a spectator. So I will give her the share.
So as a spectator, this was actually my first FIB ever as well as a spectator. And so I honestly had some expectations, but for the most part, I didn't know what to expect. My one expectation that I had that wasn't filled, and I think this is because I normally watch the FIBs on TV. So I was just expecting more space for me to be able to watch the match. Like for example, the course where Alba was warming up on, I just had to stand and watch her. And then for like the main matches going on around, not every court had chairs. You had to either grab one from the bar that was next door, and there were really few chairs. So most of the time we were sitting on the floor. And then we got pretty lucky for Alba's 2 matches. We were able to sit kind of on stairs. There were like 3 levels of steps. And so there was somewhere to sit. However, it wasn't very comfortable. It was concrete. And so you had to like move around and adjust, you know, when your butt started hurting and things like that. But like besides that there wasn't really like a place for the spectators to watch. I think it was more like I don't think it was a tournament for spectators. I told Alba, like, for me, it doesn't matter. It was completely worth it. Like I would stand out in the rain or in a storm to watch her play because like, I just want to be there for her. So I wasn't like, I didn't need anything more than that, but I was expecting more. You know, everything was really well taken care of. I find like the environment, the people around were really friendly. I had to run and get Alba balls for warm up. They were there. If I had a question about like, you know, when they were, where they can play, where they're gonna play, when they can warm up, where they can warm up, like everyone was right there willing to help you and answer any questions that you had, and I could see that they were well taken care of. So as an outsider and somebody who cares about Alba, like I really felt happy with how she was taken care of. The only thing that I was disappointed in is the area to sit and spectate and watch the matches, for all of the matches, because after we wanted to stay and watch some of the other pros play, and it was difficult to get a good spot to see them. You know, it could be different for, you know, another tournament. I guess it depends which club you're at. Maybe the facilities have that option to hold, you know, more chairs. Just at this particular one, there wasn't. And I do see like the platinum FIBs on TV and stuff, and they have really like a stadium almost all around the court, so spectators can't see. So maybe it's just the silvers, or maybe it's just in this particular event. Another thing is that you're kind of like mixed in with everyone. There's no, like, you don't know who the pro players are, you don't know who the amateur players are. There's some players there that are just playing at the club, and then there are the pros that are right next to them, and they're just kind of all in the mix, and you don't really know. There's not like a special designated area for the pros. That's it. Next point, back to Alba.
Point number 11, facilities and services. The facilities, in my point of view, they were very good. Like, we had around 11 courts in the club. They were enough to hold the tournament. As I said, we always had some court free to actually warm up or play. And something that actually surprised me was how clean they kept the glasses. Like, there was a person all the time just cleaning the glass in the courts that were empty. So really, like, I never played in a court that had the glasses so clean. It was pretty cool. The organization would give you waters for every match. They would give you a Gatorade and some snacks like an apple and a banana. So you will have that for all your matches. That was cool too. There was a physio in the tournament as well. Point number 12, atmosphere. So here, honestly, I cannot talk so much because I left the tournament in my second round. So I'm guessing that as higher the round is, the finals and the semifinals, more people will come to watch. So for my first match, I think there were maybe 4 or 5 people watching. And for my second one, maybe like 10 max, which is not so much. I didn't feel the pressure of having a lot of spectators or, like being a huge tournament. So as higher the round is, as more spectators would be. I didn't see a lot of people coming from the outside that weren't the actual players. The players were super respectful. We never had any problems with points or, like having tension with the opponents. Everything was very chill and I don't know, everybody was very nice. So I have to say that I really had a good experience with that. And point number 13, was it worth it? 100%. Like, I'm actually sad I didn't start before because of the demons I had in my head. I really had a very good experience overall. I think when you are trying to be professional or in a very competitive point in your padel career, I think you have to compare yourself with what's there, because it's either push your ego a bit or it's gonna make you work harder. It's completely worth it, and I think after this trip I have more confidence in myself because I tend to put myself down a lot, and like comparing myself to what's there, I'm actually feeling very confident right now, and just for that it's completely worth it, and I'm so excited to be playing in the future. Like I would like to do 1 FIP per month. That's the goal, and see if I get through more rounds next time. Point number 14, what would you do differently? Here is just what I would change is the nerves I had from not knowing when I was playing. I swear, for me that was the worst part. We actually packed everything like 2 days before we went to do grocery shopping. We have 2 dogs as well, so we needed to leave the dogs in the daycare. And I had the nerves of being my first tournament mixed to the stress of like not knowing when to leave. I was more anxious because of everything than excited. For sure, I will take it way easier, more calm. Like I know that's how it works now, and I'm sure it's gonna make my experience way more enjoyable. And for the point number 15, the streaming, here actually is a question I have for you, because in the facilities every court had a camera, and I thought that you could watch the matches on YouTube or through the FIP website, but we couldn't find it. So I don't know if there's some FIP that they don't have live streaming, but if someone has experience with it, it would be awesome if you can leave a comment like explaining a bit how the streaming works. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this information was useful for you guys that want to do FIP in the future, or those that are just interested in knowing how the FIP works, and see you next week.